What's up, everybody, and welcome back to the Scripted Kingdom. My name is Pharaoh, and as you see by the title today, we are tuning into what we already tuned into, but you're tuning into me as I have already tuned into Brokeback Mountain, bitch. We're here! Woo! Now, if you have never seen this movie, I suggest to go watch this movie because this review, I will not be doing a no spoiler review necessarily. I'm just going to be hopping into my motherfucking thoughts because I literally already did a full reaction to the movie. So, what I will say is if you haven't seen the movie, go see it. It's a great movie. And then come back and watch this motherfucking review because I will be spoiling the fuck out of it. Okay? Thank you. Mwah! Now, if you are new here, first of all, make sure you subscribe, you like, you share, do all of that. Usually, what I do on this podcast is I talk about, of course, movies, mostly new movies or things that are being re-released, as Brokeback Mountain was re-released for its 20th anniversary or whatever, period, which is why I'm talking about Brokeback Mountain. But usually what I do on these reviews is I do a no spoiler review first, and then I get into my spoiler review, and then I recommend some movies by the end of it. So just so you get an idea of what you'll be typically getting on a week-to-week basis, that's what the fuck you're getting. And usually I post on Mondays, the weekend after, right after the weekend of whichever movie that just came out. So yes, we're here today talking about Brokeback Mountain, bitch. Like I already said, make sure y'all watch my reaction first. If you have not seen the reaction, pause this video, go to the reaction, watch the reaction, and then come back because a lot of my thoughts about the movie I said while reacting. So this is gonna probably be like a shorter, cuter, fun, fresh review because I did say a lot of the thoughts while I was reacting, right? But yes, boom, we're the fuck here. Now, I want to get into the director. Now, I already shouted him out in the reaction. Shout out to Ang Lee. Ang Lee is the director of this film. He is also the director of Life of Pi, which I have never really seen either, but I know it's known to be a very moving, powerful movie. And it's also a book adaptation like Brokeback Mountain was. So I think that's where Ang Lee really thrives in adapting these books. He's directed a lot of other things as well. He directed the 2003 Hulk, which don't nobody know what the fuck that is. Well, some people do, but I'm not gagging. He directed some other shit as well, but nothing too big, too crazy, other than from what I know, Life of Pi and Brokeback Mountain. So shout out to him. He did a really good job of this movie. And I do kind of want to talk about what he did first. And this is a little different. If you've been around, you know I don't usually kind of go about it this way, but I was thinking, and I think I kind of want to talk about the things I liked about the film technically after talking about the director, because the director is the person who kind of leads the positives of the film. I don't know. I'm just trying something new shit. So stick with me. If you're new here, you don't even know what the fuck I'm talking about. But anyways, Ang Lee, as the director, what he did with this movie with Brokeback Mountain was so phenomenal when it comes to like structurally wise, when it comes to cinematography wise, when it comes to musically wise, like the sound, everything about this movie was such a good mixture of ingredients that made a full course dinner. And that's really how I felt about the film, especially now that I've rewatched it, because when I watched it for the podcast, my reaction that I did, that was actually done in October 2024. I had made it because I was going to do a series in February for Valentine's Day. I was going to do a Valentine's Day series. So I was recording a bunch of romance movies. Well, I ended up only doing like one, which was Brokeback Mountain, or two. I was going to record a bunch of romance movies reacting to them, and I was going to post it in February as a series leading up to Valentine's Day because I felt like Valentine's Day was underappreciated. A lot of other stuff. I might end up doing it next year, but the issue that occurred was in October, it was actually the 20th anniversary of Mean Girls. And come on, 20th anniversary. And I had made a Mean Girls video to be posted in January. And then in February, I was going to do the romance stuff. I literally had a setup. I was trying to be extra prepared. So I was recording videos months ahead of time. And then when October was the Mean Girls anniversary, I was like, well, that's God telling me I need to drop it right now. That was the very first video I recorded. And I was not going to post it till January. But when October was the anniversary, I was like, well, shit, what the fuck am I doing? I have to post it for the anniversary. So that's what the fuck I did. And then the Scripted Kingdom started from there. So it kind of switched up all of my concepts that I was going to do for February and Valentine's Day. So I ended up never posting Brokeback Mountain. And here we are for the 20th anniversary, which I didn't even think about the 20th anniversary of Brokeback Mountain being in this year as well. It just worked out perfectly. But here we are. So, I didn't mean to. I when I watched it so long ago that I didn't even know that it was the 20th anniversary. So I went to theaters and rewatched it this weekend. So here we are. So I very recently rewatched it, and it was way more emotional in the theaters. I know some of the girlies, if you've seen a movie, you don't think about going to see it in the theater. I'm telling you, it is a different experience. You cannot get the same experience of the surround sound and the big screen and the emotions and the dimness and the light and you're encapsulated when you're in a theater. When you're not in a theater, there's so much stuff going out around you. The air is coming on and off in the house. You can hear it, bitch. It's loud. The lights are on. The sun is shining sometimes. Even if it's dark, you can hear the clicking and the crackling of the water in the bathroom. It's just a lot that goes on at home that might not even seem like a distraction. The kids running around, you breathing loud, your phone going off. It's so much stuff that's occurring to where if you're in the theater and you're fully encapsulated in the film, it's going to be a different experience, period. Now, I will say some people be on their phone in the theater as well, which you should not do. That phone down and watch that fucking movie that you paid to watch. The fuck? But some people do, so it might not be too different. But for me, it was such a different experience, and I literally cried watching the film. So yes, I'm fresh off Brokeback. I know exactly what I'm feeling, what I'm thinking, and that's what the fuck we're gonna talk about. But as I was saying, with the director, I do feel like he had such a great melting pot of all of the elements because I immediately noticed the sound in this movie. And that's not something that I'm good at and I'm trying to work on it, but it doesn't have to be worked on with Brokeback Mountain. Like you feel the what is it called when there's an atmosphere? I guess I could just say atmosphere. Ambiance, whatever. You feel the atmosphere through the music. The music immediately introduces you into what kind of film we're having. It's slightly Western, and it has this. It's a Western guitar that is so raw and so natural. Like it's not enhanced electronically. It is a guitar, and that is the only thing that's playing, and that's the consistent musical theme we have throughout the entire movie is this solo guitar strum that's being played, and it's romantic and it's raw and real and it's natural and it's meaningful and it's Western. It just has everything about this movie encapsulated into the sound that hits your ear, and it's like, ooh, like that alone kills it. But also the settings of this movie, specifically Brokeback Mountain, like that setting, it's so beautiful, so gorgeously shot, but also just so chosen so well to really enhance the intensity of what's occurring with the love story between Jack Twist and Ennis. It's just so perfectly created. I love it. Who the fuck was that coming out of me? Anyways, I just love it down. I really, really do. So yes, shout out to him for that because he's the director. He did all of that. Cinematography a 10, the sound is a 10, the all of that is a 10. But what also is a 10 is the actors. I didn't really get into the acting performances during my reaction, but girl, when I tell you Heath Ledger and Jake Gyllenhaal through watching that movie became two of my favorite actors ever. And I don't even know their discography like that, bitch. I don't know their lineup. And it's like, this movie literally makes me want to go watch every single Heath Ledger film and every single Jake Gyllenhaal film, because the way that they are two of the most powerful actors I have ever seen in my life. Oh my God, I believed them. Like, I would have thought both of them was fucking in real. They was gay and fucking on Brokeback Mountain in real life if you didn't tell me this was a movie. Like, they killed that performance, and it's so. What's impressive about their performance is that, from our understanding, they're not gay. So, and even if they didn't, the experience of a down low gay man in 1963 who is a cowboy is something that is so far away from what Jake Gyllenhaal and Heath Ledger have experienced in life. It is so far away from that. So the fact that they're able to understand that perspective, it's amazing. Actors are fucking geniuses. You have to be smart as fuck to be an actor, because you genuinely have to not only pretend to be a character, you have to understand the character's POV for you to really act it out perfectly. And you could tell that Heath Ledger knew exactly what Ennis was feeling, and Jake Gyllenhaal knew exactly what Jack Twist was feeling. And it's like, for them to even know how exactly they're feeling is crazy, because they're in 2005 America, in California, recording. They're so distant from where the characters are, but they're so good at making you feel like they are the characters. It's very phenomenal. Amazing acting performances. Shout out to whoever the actress is that plays Annie. Shout out to her. Let me look her up really, really quickly, because I was surprised at how, not Annie, Alma. I'm so sorry. Alma is played by Michelle Williams. Shout the fuck out to Michelle Williams, because I didn't know who she was prior to watching Brokeback Mountain. Apparently she was on The Greatest Showman, and I didn't know that either. Shout out to The Greatest Showman. Wow. Who was she? The wife that got cheated on again? I hope she wasn't the wife that got cheated on again. Maybe she was a cheatie. Don't know. But shout out to her, and shout out to Anne Hathaway as well, because they did very good with their roles as well. Even though Anne Hathaway, she didn't have the biggest role, like that moment of her on the phone call, my God, that's one of the heaviest moments of the film. And I heard that at that scene, they made her record it in 3 different ways with 3 different perspectives. They made her record it as if she knew that Jack Twist died from being gay. They made her record it as if she knew that Jack Twist died from the tire. And then they made her record it as if she didn't know whether or not he died either way, or something along those lines. They made her record it either twice. Maybe it was twice. They either made her record it twice as if she knew, or she didn't know, or they made her record it twice as if she knew, she didn't know, she wasn't sure. I don't remember, but they made her record the scene multiple times, and they combined that together in that scene on the phone call in order to have the impact of the scene being this ambiguity thing. I know my friend, shout out to Lee. Lee hit me up, and Lee was like, he thinks that he was speculating basically how Jack Twist dies at the end of the movie. And I remember I was speculating it as well. And I actually did research about it. And apparently they literally made her record that clip or act out that scene for all 3 different perspectives. And then they put it together. They collaged it together, because the truth is she doesn't know how he died. And us as viewers, we don't really get the privilege. We're in Ennis's shoes, and it makes the scene more real, more raw, more compelling that we don't know. It's on purpose that we don't know, because the truth is Ennis doesn't know. Ennis has to live the rest of his life sitting and choosing to believe either that Jack Twist died because he's gay and he got caught being gay and there's a guilt tied to that, or he can choose to believe that Jack Twist simply died because of the tire exploding, or he could just choose to accept that he doesn't know. And us as viewers, we have to do the same thing, and it was on purpose. They purposefully made sure us as viewers had to, just like Ennis, choose how Jack Twist died. It is up to us, because none of the characters know. You know, Lorene wasn't there when it happened. So it's like we don't know. None of us know. And that's what's the impact of that scene. And I love that scene so much because of that, because it's real. The truth of the matter is, being gay in 1963, you never know how it can end up. And there is an anxiety attached to that. There's a fear of the unknown attached to that. And us as viewers have to experience it with Jack Twist for the rest of our lives, because no matter how many times you watch Brokeback Mountain, the truth is that the director on purpose made sure that we don't know how he died, period. And that's just the truth of that. And that's sad, but it's such a good scene. And Anne Hathaway's acting for that scene is so important to that moment. And she eats that shit up. Michelle eats it up as Alma. The acting is tea on this film. Shout out to all the actors. That's all I got to say on that, honey. Period. Now, to get into some of my other pros, shit, I already fucking talked about a lot of them. But just to quickly to get into some of my other pros, some of my other cons. Of course, I love the acting. Like I said, I love the film, the directing, the cinematography, all of that. I also really did enjoy the pacing. On my first watch, it kind of felt like it was a long journey in a way of like I'm like, okay, it took me a while to get to the end of the journey, and then at the end it was not a satisfying ending. It was more so like it wasn't a positive ending, so I wasn't positively satisfied. But on a rewatch, especially watching it in theaters, the pacing of the movie feels actually really good because every single scene really does um add to the story, to the depth of the story. And I think that's more respected on a second watch or a rewatch. At least it was for me. So I really do feel like the pacing was well. The plot is obviously very, very good. The acting is obviously very, very good. I just enjoy this movie. I think I said I think everything is a pro for me. I literally think everything is a pro. Now, I will say I ended up rating this movie a 4 out of 5 stars. I did not give it the 5 stars. And I guess I can talk about a potential con. I can try to figure out what the con is, because I think the reason I didn't give it a 5 is because a little bit of the ending, it's powerful in how simple it is, but I kind of feel like it's missing because it's so simple. It's hard for me to get a full grasp of what the resolution is. You know, like there's kind of a beginning and a middle and an end to every story. And the end of this story, of course, is Jack. Jack Twist dies and Ennis lives along in kind of like a respectful way to Jack. But it's kind of it and I guess I understand the ending. I just think the ending is not as powerful as it could be. And I think the relationship with Alma Jr. is supposed to help impact the ending of this movie, but it doesn't really. I think the relationship with Alma Jr. kind of falls a little bit flat, because it's almost like, what is the purpose of this? I know, and I can tell, especially on a rewatch, that it's supposed to show us Ennis's how Ennis's refusal to be himself affects all of his relationships, including the one with his kids. And I think by the end of the movie, he's supposed to learn, and we see that he learns to prioritize his relationships and let down that wall, which is why he agrees to go to the wedding with Alma. But a part of me almost wishes we saw him at the wedding or something, because although he agrees to go to the wedding, it's not as satisfying. It doesn't satisfy everything Ennis did throughout the movie, refusing to open up and let his guard down. Him saying he's going to Alma's wedding isn't enough to satisfy that. And I feel like that's kind of what the purpose was. And the big lesson for Ennis was to just kind of be himself. And I feel like we never really got there because it was too late. But that's the tragedy of it all. Like, at the end of the day, this is a tragedy. This is not a positive romance or a rom-com. This is a tragedy story. And I do think it ended in a way of tragedy, but there was supposed to be some what's it called when a character has a positive turnaround by the end? Reprimand, not reprimand. It's a word for it. Oh my god, I'm so bad at words. But anyways, Ennis was supposed to have like a redeeming thing. Like he was supposed to be redeemed in a way for how he acted, and then how it ended with Jack and all of that. And I feel like it didn't necessarily feel that way. And I think that kind of fell flat for me. And although every scene had a important impact on who these people were as characters, the characterization was so tea in this movie. My God, these are real humans. Ennis Delmar is a real human. But although the scenes were supposed to all have big impacts on who they were as characters, and that was the point of the movie, I do feel like it kind of made parts of the story lull a bit. When Ennis met his second girlfriend, that storyline almost felt like something that would work in a book. And when they tried to put it in the movie, it almost didn't work. I think they did as good as you could do with a film for that second storyline. But in a way, it almost felt irrelevant by the end of it all. It's kind of like, okay, that kind of just got thrown in there because they couldn't extend in the way they needed to. It was slightly off. And I just think little things like that is why I don't put it at a full 5. And also, like, it impacted me, but it didn't impact me as much as other movies can. And I feel like the main purpose of this movie is to impact you in that heavy way. And I feel like it did, but it could have went even harder, even deeper in a lot of ways. Amazing movie. It's just those little things are the things that I had with it that I wasn't necessarily, 10 out of 10 with it. But other than that, I have no more thoughts. Fun question to pose to the chat. Do you feel like you're more of a Jack Twist or are you more of an Ines Del Mar? I am definitely a Jack Twist. Jack Twist would crash out on his over his man. Like, that's his man. I feel, at least that's how I felt, even though Ines literally crashed out. But Jack Twist is more like a lover boy, in my opinion. He's ready to go to the ends of the earth to be with Ines, and he's actually come up with plans. He's gonna figure out how to do it, and da 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 da. Ines is more so like, well, it is what it is, and well, we can't do that, and da da da. Who are you? I'm a Jack Twist girl. I'm all over my man. My man is annoyed with me, baby. So there's that. Second question. What would you do? I talked about this in my reaction. So go watch my reaction, like I said. What would you do if you found out your man or woman or partner was cheating on you with their friend? If you was Alma and you walked out on them stairs and saw them, what would you do? Because I had a theory. My suggestion was like, well, girl, if you have a family and I know obviously in 2025, a lot of y'all will probably just say, bitch, I'm leaving him. He's cheating on me. And we move forward. So maybe if you're in 1960, even in 1963, you could do that. So I guess that's not a good idea either. But I guess it's not a good question. Because at the moment, for some reason, I was wondering why Alma, not why, but I was hypothesizing that maybe Alma could still co-parent with Ines, but fuck on some niggas herself, which is just even more toxic than where we were. So that's a stupid idea. But the point was, I thought that in 1963, she would not want to divorce him for societal reasons. But because she ended up divorcing him, all of that kind of goes out the window, and I take it back. So still, my question is, what you gonna do if your man cheating on you? You whooping his ass? You leaving him? You snatching them kids? Does he get custody or not? Are you mad? How mad are you? Would you have just wanted him to tell you, or would you have wanted him to just never marry? What did you want? What do you think? You have thoughts. What are your thoughts on that? What are your thoughts? That's what I want to know. Damn. So yes, do that, and boom. Really short, really sweet, really cute. Like I said, I said most of the shit on the reaction, so check that out. But I do want to recommend y'all some movies. So for a while, I've been doing I was doing the categories of recommending because I wanted to recommend 3, and I wanted to have it be like, I'll recommend a movie that's similar. I'll recommend a movie that's different. It was a lot. And at first I thought it was cute, but I think I just need to kind of maybe come up with different categories of recommendation or something else. But I don't know. But anyways, if you watch Brokeback Mountain and you liked it and you want something similar, Moonlight is my favorite movie of all time. And it has a very similar impact as Brokeback Mountain is. It is very similar to Impact. It is about LGBT people who are in a situation where it is not okay to be LGBT, period. It is about the stages of this young black man's life as he's going through being a black man who is gay, honestly, is a queer black man, and he has to learn how to live and compensate and change the way he approaches life to fit in and to be in a structure that was kind of given to him. It is a very deep story, and it hits so hard, and it is a 5 out of 5 stars for me. It breaks my motherfucking scales. My favorite movie ever. I will recommend that to the ends of the earth, but especially with Brokeback Mountain. If this is a movie that you felt like compelled you, you were interested in, you need to watch Moonlight right now, tonight. It's no motherfucking questions about it, period. Okay? I would also suggest maybe, I'm just thinking of the queer movies I've seen. I've only really seen 3, honestly, that I can remember that are about queer love, and it's Moonlight, Brokeback Mountain, and Call Me By Your Name. And I would also suggest Call Me By Your Name, because Call Me By Your Name is another version of the same story that we're talking about, where it's these people who are in a situation where they cannot love each other openly. And that's what's so unfortunate about being gay or in the LGBT community or whatever. It is not comfortable to openly love. It truly is not. Even though being gay is more accepted now, it's still not a comfortable situation. Some people still can't get married. There are still people trying to take our rights away. It is so stressful. And there's so many situations where even if it's comfortable in some places, you can happily be gay and married and in love and you can be fine. Not in everyone's situation. And that's what we see in Moonlight. That's what you see in Call Me By Your Name. It's not what someone may not choose to live that way. Like Enos Del Mar doesn't want to be scolded. He doesn't want to be damn near beat to death. It was more intense back then, but still there's modern versions of that. And I think Call Me By Your Name and Moonlight give a more modern version of it. And Moonlight specifically gives a Black version of it because there's intricacies to how it affects Black people specifically, and Moonlight is so good at that. So definitely watch both of those movies if you enjoyed this movie. Of course, put in the comments your recommendations. If you have any movies, any gay movies, any LGBT movies, any movies similar to this, it doesn't even have to be gay, that you feel like were impactful, about romance or something like this, or a topic that's kind of taboo, whatever the fuck it is, put it in the comments and recommend it to the people and recommend it to me because I will be watching or whatever. And like I said, make sure you get into the motherfucking Scripted Kingdom. Subscribe, like, turn your notifications on. I will be trying to post every single week, but girl, I have a whole lot going on with my other podcast, so you know I gotta compensate. But turn the notifications on, baby. I'm gonna be here. I'm never leaving. So whether it takes 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, I will still come back. So be here or be square. And thank you for tuning in, bitch. I'm out. Bye.